Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast. My name is Bree Paul, along with my co-host, Rylee Fleck. How are you doing, Rylee?
I'm doing good.
Today we're going to talk to Tyrone Class of 2015, Lena Walk. Lena was adopted from Ukraine at the age of 14 by Lori and Rusty Walk of Tyrone. While at Tyrone High School, she was a very accomplished artist, and she has turned her talent into a career. Today we're going to talk to her about her childhood in Ukraine, the impact of the war on her family that still lives there, and also about her art and current career. Welcome to the podcast, Lena. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good.
So let's begin with the first question. Will you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Lena Walk. I'm 27 years old. I currently live in Altoona. I work as an artist full-time, and as well as I'm a full-time mom. I have 2 children. One, she's 7 years old, Kendall. She goes to actually Tyrone Elementary School. She's in 1st grade. And my second one is Ivana. She is 1 year old, and she goes to daycare in Altoona. But yeah, so I do art for a living, I guess. That's a little bit about me.
What was your life like in Ukraine, like before you came to the United States?
Well, the early childhood, grew up in the orphanages since I was really young. I got to my first orphanage when I was 6 years old, and my brother was with me. He's a year younger than me, so we were actually both came here together. It was tough. I mean, I was around a lot of children that were kind of in the same situation as me, so I would feel like I could speak for, all of them, that it was hard for everybody, but it was our life, and I think it was the things that were happening around us, to us it was like normal because we didn't really like know any better. But now like that I'm older and I live here and I have obviously a different lifestyle, I can reflect and look back on things that had happened and places I've been through and kind of analyze it and see like, things that were really like bad and good. And, now that I have my own kids, seeing how the way I grew up and the way they're growing up is so different, and like things that I would like never repeat, like mistakes of my parents, and even like some of the teachers that failed us as well, But I would say there were a lot of good positive things and a lot of like negative things. Positive things, I would name one of them would be like in an orphanage, that's where I started to paint and, do art. And that was like one of the most memorable, fun, great things that I've experienced growing up. But I also like took dance classes, and I always tried to stay busy. I think again, when I was younger, I realized like I had to realize at young that, if I'm not gonna keep myself busy and do something in life and like try to do well in school and do it like on my own, like nobody's gonna do it for me. Like we had teachers there that were kind of pushing us and like explaining things to us that, you have to try to be interested in something and have some sort of hobby, and because you'll need it in future. And in Ukraine, like even if you do work hard, you still may not get anywhere. So since I was young, I understood that if I'm not gonna try to like invest in me, nobody's gonna do it for me. So I guess that was other positive thing that I've learned at the young age, that you have to work very hard if you want to get anywhere. But negative, I did witness a lot of like physical abuse from like teachers towards more of a younger children. I've seen a lot of like, they were stealing from us. We would have missionaries coming from like Canada and United States and Italy and other countries, and a lot of times they would come in and they would bring like gifts and toys, before like holidays or any just for any other reason to spend time with us, whatever, in the summer especially. They would like take pictures of us with all the gifts and everything we received. And like after they leave, we would go, we had like the nap time. And while we were like laying down to take a nap from like noon till 4, that's how long our nap was. The teacher would like pack everything and like, so she can take it home later, like all that stuff. So she can give it to her kids, her neighbors, her friends, because a lot of it was like really nice stuff, And it's like, now that I'm looking back at it, I know how like the shoe boxes get to the children in other countries, and people donating stuff. And I'm not saying that it happens for every orphanage out there, but like in my instance, that's something I witnessed, is that, a lot of things were stolen from us. We already didn't have anything, we were there with no parents and no grandmas or uncles or aunts taking care of us, and we have these people that we like rely on, and we think they want the best for us, but then you like watch them steal from you. It's very upsetting. But and a lot of times they would like, we had one teacher, she was kind of like crazy. She would like guilt trip us if we like, for Christmas, if we don't like leave her a gift with like candies on a table, she would like get mad. So like me and the girls, like it was like 14 or 15 of us in our group, would like whoever, like whatever penny we had, like gather that together, and somebody ran to the store real quick and got her a gift. Like that's so crazy to me, like how, she was able to do that. But yeah, a lot of corruption growing up I witnessed, but like I've said, there were like a lot of positive things that came out of that place, and those places I've been to as well.
What was it like then when you like came over from Ukraine to here?
Like, we didn't speak English. We stayed home for like the first maybe 2 months. I don't really remember, but it was like a while. Just so we can kind of get adjusted and like at least get used to some things in here before we go to school. It was hard because we didn't speak English. I struggled really bad. I thought I would never like learn English. I remember crying about it. But once we got to school, we came to Tyrone area high school. We got a lot of like help here. I feel like Miss Barlad, she was an ESL teacher. I think she did an amazing job, not only teaching us how to speak, she had to start with like, she had to teach us the alphabet. Like we didn't really know the alphabet, let alone like everything else. But she was so well at explaining how things work in general, because you have to like understand the culture before you use the language. But like if you don't really know how things work, I remember asking her, like, oh, why do you guys like ask a lot of like things here before you want to get to the point, like, oh, hey, can you please excuse me, blah, 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 instead of like, hey, can I go to the bathroom? Or like, I don't know, I just, it's manners. Like I feel like we didn't really like understood, like, you really have to use your manners. You can't be fighting, that's not okay, because like the way we were growing up, I mean, like the fist fighting part was like normal. I don't know, like nobody, you had to stick up for yourself. Nobody else would stick up for you. And that's something I also learned growing up, because the bullying was really bad as well. Like I witnessed, my brother being bullied, I was being bullied. So I was always kind of ready to like in a fight mode, even when I came here. And then like I realized, oh, like, it happens, but it's not like a normal, daily thing. Yeah. So I definitely like always felt like somebody's always after me, or like somebody's gonna like hurt me or something. I don't know. I was very much so on my toes. But again, like, understanding those things and how everything works, even from like smallest things like bell ring. Like I remember sitting here in the classroom and it was like beep, and I'm like, what happened? Ours are like so loud, like it was really loud. Lockers, like I never had lockers before. We don't have lockers in Ukraine. At least my school didn't have it. I don't know what they do now, but you know, it was just like I've never actually used a locker in high school. I had one, but I've never. I think I had like a really big purse that I just shoveled everything in. I probably looked goofy, but whatever. So yeah, like she has like helped me so much to the point where I remember I wore these like boots and they were so slippery, and I was like, I'm gonna slip and fall. Everybody's gonna laugh at me in a cafeteria. And she took her shoes off, and like we switched our shoes, and she just sat there, and I like wore her shoes to go to get lunch. So she was that type of person. She actually even took me, like before I got my driver's license and everything, she like took me practice driving around town. So, and I'm still very close with her. So that's how involved she is. She wasn't just involved during like, oh, here, you know, the 40-minute period, and it's like, okay, see you later. She was very involved. She really cared about us, and I'm very extremely thankful. And I think a lot of teachers here in Tyrone are like that. Like, they are very involved with students, which was awesome. Because if you think about it, coming into a small town school from a completely different background and country, you know, it's very scary and intimidating, but, you know, having like so much support, like I didn't even expect that. It was great. It was awesome.
Do you still remember like your very first day of school? Because I feel like the feeling of it would be so weird.
I don't even know if I can like talk about it, but me and my brother got in like a argument or something, and he like took a pencil and like stabbed my hand with it, and like on his first day of school he had to stay out. So they were gonna kick him out. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like it was we learned quick that you can't do that.
Yeah. So what grade were you in?
I was like halfway through the 8th grade.
In Ukraine, it was like here we go to school until 12th grade. So what was it like there?
So I know that in Ukraine, like, you can graduate after 9th grade, but you're not going to get like a really good diploma. You're going to go to like school to get like basic things. Like, I don't know, like you can be a hairstylist or just like do like, I guess go to like cooking school. But like if you want to be like a doctor or something, then you will have to stay till you're in 11th grade. And then graduate. So there's no 12th grade. Yeah, there's no 12th grade. So I did feel like I was kind of like old when I was here. Yeah. I'm like, I should be graduating now, because like I think I was like one of the oldest ones in my grade too. I think it was me and someone else, but I think I was like turning 19 when I was graduating. Do you have any family that still lives in Ukraine, and if you do, are you still able to keep in touch with them? Yeah, so I do have my older sister there. I actually have an older brother as well, but we don't like really talk much. There's not really like a bad or good reason. His lifestyle was not great, so that kind of stood a little bit in a way. So I do talk to him, but sometimes it's kind of hard to communicate with him. Yeah. But my sister, she is married. She has 2 boys. Unfortunately, her husband cannot leave the country due to his age, and it's like his duty to stay and protect. So she didn't want to leave him behind, which is understandable. I probably would have done the same thing in her case, but no, I do feel bad for her 2 little boys, because, you know, as a child, you always, like, reflect on, like, most of the time what your good memories, right? So it makes me, like, feel sad that, you know, they're going to grow up and reflect on their childhood and the things that they're going to, like, think about, you know, because of the war. So we call each other, we check on each other. It's been kind of difficult to communicate lately because of this situation with the war. I'm sure she's dealing with a lot of stress. So, like, for me, if I do talk to her, like, I know I don't want to mention, and like, I feel guilty mentioning anything that's good going on in my life because I feel extremely guilty. But I think for her, you know, she probably has her own struggles right now too. So it's been like really difficult ever since the war started. But, you know, I always have to make sure that I'm there for her. And if she ever needs me to do anything, if she ever wants me to, you know, bring my nephews over here for the summer, I think that would be awesome. I would love for them to come here and get to experience the life here, at least for the summertime, and, you know, have normal, you know, create normal, good childhood memories instead of, you know, listening to the sirens every day and hearing, you know, the war sounds and stuff flying in the air and things like that. So,
do you ever get to, like, go visit them?
I actually went back in 2019. Now, like, the first invasion started in 2014, so I did have to kind of, like, double check, make sure, like, where I was going is still safe. It was. So I kind of, like, I felt good. I honestly thought things were getting better, but they actually weren't getting better, obviously. But at that time, like, everything seemed more calm. So I did visit my friend, so I had to, like, go into Kryvyi Rih, and then I had to travel on, like, a train to my sister's city. And then I stayed with her and her family, and then we traveled to the small village. I wanted to go to the small village where I grew up, well, till I was pretty much 6. That's where we lived before we, like, moved to the orphanages. And I just wanted to see the house, because that house is where me and my brother were. I have, like, I don't know, I guess I just wanted to go there to, like, let go of things and, like, heal just from, like, seeing that. I guess, like, going there, I think I felt better seeing that place and knowing that it has no control over me anymore. I'm in control of my life. So that kind of felt good, because we sat at that house for days with no food. You know, nobody's coming to visit us. We were starving. It was really sad. It was cold. You know, I remember I was just sitting on, like, the windowsill, and we would just, like, cry for somebody to come and get us. It was very, very sad and lonely time, and the memories that I have are very depressing, honestly. But I think when I went back there, actually, I wanted to go inside of the house, but the grass was so outgrown. Like, I didn't know there's probably, like, snakes in there. I just, like, I was so scared. But then I was, like, really wanted to go in for some reason, but I wasn't able to. I looked through the windows, and I, like, took pictures of that house. And now that I'm, like, looking back at it, I'm actually glad that I've never walked into that house again. I don't think I need to. I think me coming there and, like, looking at everything and knowing that I will never be there again, it's never gonna, that, like, place never gonna hurt me again, just need to let go of it. And I know that village, Duchane, is pretty much occupied by Russians. Like, there's a lot of, you know, action going on there. My mom's great there. Like, that's the only thing that I was, like, worried about. I didn't know if I will ever be able to go back and, like, bring her, you know, visit her grave. Because that's, like, the only thing I have left, like, to physical to be around. Like, that reminds me of her. But, yeah, that was, like, the only thing that I was worried about. But my neighbor actually, like, messaged me not too long ago and, like, sent me pictures. She actually went to clean out my mom's grave, and that made me very happy. Like, I was like, okay, like, it's still there, you know. But I'm like, if that house is gonna get destroyed, I don't care about that. Like, I just want it to be gone. Honestly.
So, I remember a little bit earlier you said about how you started doing art in the orphanages.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you teach yourself how to do it, or did you have someone that taught you how to do it?
We had actually 2 teachers, one for like the younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
So because we had 2 buildings, like the younger kid building, and I'm pretty sure we had like close to 200 kids in that orphanage. So they had to do we had like boys played soccer, because soccer is like huge in Europe and around the world. So the boys played soccer, girls had like art classes, and we had dance class. And it wasn't that we just like took dance classes. We actually like competed and like traveled to. It was exciting, and we actually were the ones that were helping, helping our lady there that did our costumes, like to come up with the ideas, and like we were involved. So there were a lot of creativity in that orphanage. I feel like we were very involved, and it was like exciting. Because we got to travel, and that was like my favorite thing, that we got to travel around Ukraine. So I always wanted to I wasn't really good at dancing. I always was like the one that would learn the moves the last, but I still wanted to do it because I wanted to travel and go places. So, but yeah, we had like 2 art teachers, and I started actually. My art teacher, she just came back she had a baby, so she was like off for like a couple years, and she came back and she was trying to get kids to come to her class. So we were like playing outside, and I remember I seen like a bunch of kids sitting down and like drawing a tree or something. Well, that's when I seen it later, but they were drawing something, and I was like running around the track field, and I was like really tired, and I was like, I'm gonna go sit down with them and see what they're doing. And I sat down, and she's like, hey, do you want to draw? Well, like, we're drawing this tree, do you want to draw? I'm like, sure. So that was like my very first like drawing before. I mean, I drew obviously before, but I'm saying like before like I got into the art class.
Yeah.
So she looked at it. She's like, hey, I really like the color palette that you chose for this tree. She's like, do you want to come to the art class? And I was like, yeah, sure. But like, I was like, no, I'm not going there. So then I figured, this is actually really funny. During the nap time, nobody wants to nap from 12 till 4, right? And that's when she would come in and grab the kids to like go to the art class. And I was like, oh, this is not gonna skip the nap time, So like one day I was like, hey, do you think I can come and draw? She's like, yes, absolutely. So that's how I skipped all my nap times. I started to draw, and then I became really close with her. Like she, everybody said, oh, like I was her favorite. So then the whole thing started. She can't actually draw. She's just her favorite. Because she would take me home on the weekends. I mean, I'm sure other kids would have loved for somebody to come get them on a weekend. She would make me nice breakfast, and I would hang out with her. I don't even know if she legally was allowed to do that, but hey, she took me home. So I was very close with her, and I still talk to her till this day. She moved out of Ukraine right now, but yeah, she's done a lot for me. And then we had this lady that came through. She was like one of the representatives for this like a sponsoring group from our how would you say, like the old president, like the retired president. What's the right word for it?
No. Yeah, I also don't know.
Anyways, the Kuchma, he was the president of Ukraine back in 2003. I think he finished in 2003. I'm not sure. I think, yeah. So anyways, he sponsored like this group where these people will go to like orphanages and like different places and find talented kids that are like orphans or handicapped, but they were like doing something, So she came to our orphanage, and she was looking for somebody, and I think she was looking for somebody that can sing. And at that time, they had like me singing the song, but like I wasn't actually singing that, I was lip singing, right? And the girls are like dancing in the background, whatever. And she's like, oh my goodness, like, I love her voice. Like, I want to, like, sponsor. We want to take her. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, that's so embarrassing. Like, is anybody going to tell her I didn't sing that? So my teacher, like, grabbed her. She's like, no, she can paint. Like, let me go show you her paintings. And she, like, grabbed her by the hand and brought her over and, like, showed her my art. And I guess she was like, okay, like, we're gonna, invest in this girl. So they did, like, different art shows in my city with, like, a little bit of information about me. But that's where, like, I was kind of, like, getting money raised. And then I got, like, a diploma from our the president, Kuchma, hand-signed and everything. And they did granted me with money. So I already had, like, some money in my bank account. Like, I was kind of like, okay, if I graduate, I have some money, But we left that to our sister, me and my brother. We, like, well, actually, my parents asked. They're like, hey, do you, like, want to take this with you? It wouldn't be really worth anything much here. Or, like, would you like to, like, leave it here? So that was it was their idea. And I'm like, yeah, totally. Like, let's leave it for our sister. And then she bought a laptop, and we were able to, like, Skype each other at that time. But, yeah.
So,
wait, you talked about, like, when you were here in Mr. McNitt's, like, the Ukraine, like, art. Like, they have, like, a Ukraine, like, art, like, style.
Like, the style?
Yeah.
So the Petrokivka painting, I obviously didn't do that in an orphanage. I wish I did. But I started, like, practicing it right now. But it's really hard. I feel like I need to do more research on, like, the type of brushes you need to use and, like, the paint. Like, I follow some of the girls that, like, Ukrainian artists that, like, paint in that style. It's so crazy. It's so beautiful. The pattern repeats. Like, say it's a plate. It's, like, perfectly repeating, like, in circle. Everything's, like, the same size, like, proportion-wise. So I'm like, I don't know. She has to be sketching it or something. There's no way you can eye it and make it perfect. But the colors are so vibrant. And, like, that's another thing. I'm like, what kind of paint do I need to use to make this so vibrant? But, yeah, it's really, really beautiful style. Why did you like it? Is that why?
Yeah, I liked it, yeah.
Cool.
Do you do, like, a lot of work around here?
Yeah, so I started at Greystone, so Jeff Long kind of, he found me, and he has, like, the Greystone around the area buildings, and so I was working at Penn State at that time, and he has, like, brought me to the buildings and, like, showed me kind of what he expected from me, because he had some other artist that has done work for him, and he kind of, like, showed me around. I was like, okay, this looks really nice, And then I started painting for him. I was turning 23, and, I didn't really, like, honestly knew what I was doing, but I just, you can't, you have to sound confident if you want to. If you want to get something, you have to act like you know what you're doing. I mean, I knew how to paint, but I didn't know if I was, that's the scale of work would be something I would be good at. And I got better. I see the difference. Like, I started on the 3rd floor, and he was so nice and supportive. Like, I've never felt intimidated. Like, oh, he's going to come and be like, what is this, But he was very pleased and happy. And I think that kind of boosted my confidence, I just, like, I really liked working for him. It was great. So, a couple years later down the road, I got, enough practice and got better at it. And then, I thought about, doing it for, like, as my own little business on the side. Like, what if I just start painting? First, I was like, maybe I'll, like, just sell my paintings. And then I was like, well, I really like doing murals and ceilings, whatever. I don't care what it is, doors, ceilings, baseboards, like, I'll paint on it, So it kind of, like, it started really, really slow. But, again, like, around the area, you do something, like, people talk about it. And then I always try to, like, stay close with every, like, small business that I work with. And I think it's good to build relationships, and that helps me having relationships with different like business owners, and also, you know, making them happy by doing something. It's like the best thing in the world is like when somebody's really pleased with your work. And so yeah, I'm like trying to, I guess like I'm looking forward to be able to like travel and do this. But yeah, around the area, like coffee shops and the Juice Shack, the Coffee on Third, Lucari Boutique, Kingview Winery in Pittsburgh. And I have some like projects there we will be working on coming up here soon. And I have some plans already for spring that I'll be traveling a little bit to paint. So I'm just kind of like, I guess I'm just trying to stay busy working and not really thinking about anything, you know, other than like, okay, I need to get more jobs. I need to, I'm just like shocked that I was able to do as much as I've done around here, because I don't know, I always think like, I don't know why people, like, do people really want murals? I guess like I question myself that too, like, do people like, because I go to like some, you know, my kids go to doctors' offices and I see like stickers and stuff, and I'm always like, you should have me paint something here, you know? So now that I'm like driving around town or like Altoona, I'm like, they should just have somebody paint here. I don't know, it's like in my head 24/7, that's all I think about. So, you know, I'm hoping that eventually I'll be able to like, yeah, like I've said, travel and do this for a living everywhere else in the world. Maybe in Ukraine one day. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Keep going.
I mean, I wanted to talk more about your sister, and like her house did get hit.
Yeah, so it's like a really old building complex where they lived at. So it's 5 floors. And I'm pretty sure she said to me that it was like built before World War II or something, or right after. So it was really old.
Yeah.
And yeah, so right, it was after they moved out of there. So when the Russians got to their city, they like realized that things aren't doing great. And like her husband is a police officer, so he's like somebody that they want to capture, because he has access to like things and like offices and information and like other people, you know?
Yeah.
So they had to like pack it up quick. You know, they left a lot of their stuff behind, you know, personal pictures and kids' toys. You know, just think about your house and like if you would have just got up and left everything behind and like had to literally start over. I mean, I can't even imagine. So, and it was like already pretty dangerous to travel around Ukraine at that time, because like their city was getting occupied, so you know there's a lot of like violence and all that going on, so they had to like get up and leave. And then like a couple months later, she sent me pictures and like videos of like, I don't know if it was like their neighbors or whoever they knew, like walk through their apartment, and there were just like holes in the walls and everything. And then she like sent me that picture with like literally a missile stuck right on top of their roof.
Yeah.
So like I don't know how, either way they will never be able to go back there, because I don't know how. Maybe they can fix that structure, that building, I don't know. It's really old. And how do you, like, I don't know when is that gonna blow up? Like, how are they gonna remove that missile, you know? So, and like Kherson is occupied by Russians now. So there's, I don't know. I'm not sure when that's gonna get taken care of.
Yeah.
Has the war like affected you a lot over here that you can't like be over with your sister?
Yes. I think for a while you kind of stay in denial because you're not there. You just think like, for the longest time I was so positive. I was like, it's not gonna start. The war's not gonna start, because they were like talking about it there, and I'm like, no, it's not gonna start. You know, it's not gonna happen. There's no way. I mean, nowadays, like, you wouldn't really think that. I don't know. I just didn't really think it was gonna happen. And then like I woke up in the middle of the night, and My sister hid a lot of like things from me because I was pregnant. So she did not want to stress me. So she wouldn't like tell me a lot of things. But she has mentioned to me in a text message like later on that the Russians, like the military or whatever, got into their apartment. They were like doing searches. They're actually going through like people's stuff. And she said when some people would travel in the cars like to get out of there, they would get stopped and they would like look through your phones and things like that to make sure. I don't know, it's kind of crazy. But she she would like not tell me too many things, I guess. But I just felt really sad and like very guilty, and I just felt like I almost couldn't talk to her. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like you have to like experience it to be able to try to word it. Yeah. Because I just felt like, who do I like even talk to get it? Because I don't want it to focus on me, how I feel. Like even right now, like, you know, people ask me that, you know, how do you, you know, what do you think? How do you feel? I don't even want it to be like about me or how I feel. That's how guilty I feel, you know? And it's hard for me to even talk to her sometimes because I don't know what I can do. I feel so bad for my nephews.
How old are they?
So the oldest one, I think he's 12. Yes. And then her youngest one is 5 now. I think he is. But they are really cute and they're really good boys, and I do hope she lets them come here for the summer. Yeah.
So are they like are they still able to work down there or like go to school, or like how does that work?
I don't know if she works right now. Actually, I don't think she does, but she's a nurse. Yeah. And then her husband, he still does like his police duty, but now there's no police or something. Like that's what I heard. Yeah. So he does something with like military involved, but not like out on an open scale war. Yeah. Fronts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So he's like involved with like military and all that. And I know he has to go away a lot. So she stays with the kids. And they have like moved, I think, 2 or 3 times already since the war started. So I mean, that's probably a lot for a kid too, you know? Or like, you know, my friends that I would like call sometimes and talk to, it's just so strange. Like, this is their life now. I would call and I hear the sirens in the back, you know, the air sirens, because they do get attacked by air all the time, you know? That's the missiles flying. And I would hear it and I'm like, oh, like, aren't you going to run to the basement? She's like, well, this is the 3rd one today. I don't know. Like, I'm going to see. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. You know, but my sister, I think she's more like, she's very, like, worried about it because of her kids. So, like, if she hears that run down the basement. I mean, the first couple weeks of invasion, they were down in their basement of their old building. And, like, just seeing, like, the tiny room they were staying with and no window. I mean, I couldn't hold tears when she told me, like, her son was like, youngest son was like, hey, Mom, do you think I can go, like, up the stairs so I can look out the window? Like, that is so sad, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so we're just about out of time, but thank you for coming in today and sharing a little bit about your story with us, and we hope to have you back soon.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me here and asking really good questions.
Of course.